If you want to see this whole system at its most extreme, you go south. You go to Chiapas. Chiapas is one of the wettest states in Mexico. Mountains, rivers, cloud forests, rain that arrives on schedule for months at a time. From a satellite, it looks like a place that should never run out of water. It does. In the city of San Cristobal de las Casas and in the indigenous communities surrounding it, the tap is unreliable. Sometimes it runs brown. Sometimes it does not run at all. Families budget their water the way other families budget electricity. And in those same towns, almost every store has a fridge full of Coca-Cola. In Chiapas alone, the Coca-Cola system has reported operating a bottling plant, 9 distribution centers, and serving more than 50,000 points of sale. 50,000 in a state where some communities still have to walk for water. This is where the story becomes uncomfortable. It is tempting to point at the bottling plant and say, there is the villain. The company is taking the water and selling it back. It is also tempting to point at the government and say, no, the real failure is decades of underinvestment, contamination, deforestation, broken pipes, weak institutions. Both are pointing at real things, but the honest version is darker than either. Coca-Cola did not have to create the water crisis to benefit from it. That is the part that should sit with you. When public water fails, private beverages become more valuable, automatically, without anyone having to do anything wrong. When the tap is uncertain, the sealed bottle becomes safety. When people stop trusting what comes out of the wall, they start trusting what comes out of a factory. The crisis did not need a villain. It just needed a vacuum. For a long time, this story stayed quiet. Then the bodies started telling it. Mexico now has one of the highest rates of obesity in the world, one of the highest rates of type 2 diabetes. Children diagnosed with conditions doctors used to see only in adults. Amputations, dialysis, funerals that come too early. Mexico is the largest Coca-Cola market in the world. Around 150 liters of Coca-Cola products per person every year. More than the United States. More than anyone. But in Chiapas, the numbers stop making sense. A team at the Chiapas Multidisciplinary Research Center looked at how much soda people there actually drank. 821 liters per person. Per year. That works out to more than 2 liters every day. Every single day. A Coca-Cola at a wedding is not a public health crisis. A Coca-Cola at every meal for years, starting in childhood, that is a public health crisis. In 2014, Mexico tried to push back. The government introduced a tax on sugar-sweetened drinks, 1 peso per liter. Small, almost symbolic. And then something interesting happened. Purchases of taxed drinks fell by about 6% in the first year. By December, the drop reached 12%. The tax worked. But here's the uncomfortable part. If a 1 peso tax can change behavior, then consumption was never really about taste. It was about price, about access, about habit, about environment, about the cooler being closer than the kitchen. And taxes can only do so much. You cannot tax away a childhood memory. You cannot tax away 13,000 delivery routes. You cannot tax away the distrust of a faucet. You cannot tax away a bottle that feels like family. Public health does not happen only in hospitals. It happens in fridges, on shelves, at family tables, in the moment someone is thirsty and reaches for whatever is closest. And in most Mexican kitchens, closest is red. Here's the twist most people miss. If a Mexican family stops drinking soda because they want to be healthier, what do they often buy instead? Bottled water, not tap water, almost never tap water. Mexico is, by some measures, one of the largest per capita consumers of bottled water on Earth. Roughly 8 out of 10 Mexicans drink bottled water regularly. In Mexico City, that number climbs even higher. Stop and look at that for a second. When people want sugar, beverage companies sell them soda. When people fear the tap, beverage companies sell them water. Either way, the thirst becomes a transaction. This is the quieter logic underneath the entire story. The real product is not Coca-Cola. The real product is reliability in a bottle. And the more a public water system fails, the more valuable that bottle becomes. The same logistics that delivered the soda are ready to deliver the water. The same coolers, the same routes, the same trucks, sometimes the same companies. Whatever you decide to drink, someone has already built a road to your kitchen. The easy version of this story would be a clean fight. Big corporation, bad, Mexico, tricked, end of video. That version is comforting. It is also wrong. Coca-Cola is powerful in Mexico because it sits at the intersection of things that were already failing. A public water system that lost the trust of its people. A retail economy that runs on small, daily transactions in millions of family stores. A food culture that pairs perfectly with cold, sweet, carbonated drinks. A logistics network that reaches deeper than most public services do. A political elite that came to see the brand as a model of modernity. A health crisis that became visible only after the habit was already inside the body. No single decision built this. No single villain. No single moment. It was built one route at a time. One cooler at a time. One family meal at a time. One small store. One cold bottle. One Sunday afternoon at a time. Over decades. Until a foreign product became local memory. This is what makes the story uncomfortable. There is no one to point at. There is only a system doing exactly what systems do in the space a government left behind. So did Coca-Cola replace water in Mexico? Not literally, not everywhere, not by itself, but in the places where water became unreliable, Coca-Cola became dependable. Coca-Cola did not become more powerful than water because it defeated water. It became more powerful because water lost first. So the next time you see a glass bottle of Mexican Coke, try to see the rest of it too. Because in Mexico, Coca-Cola is not just the most successful drink ever sold. It might be the most successful replacement for public trust ever bottled.